Let me take you all back to the year 2013. The Super Smash Bros. Melee community had recently raised over $90,000 for breast cancer, and all to get their game into the Evolution tournament. It was a landmark achievement for the game, and things were just looking up for the Melee community. But then tragedy struck just 3 days before the tournament when Nintendo of America tried to pull the plug, demanding that Melee not be streamed at EVO. They were of course met with immense backlash, which made them immediately back down, but that's the part of the story that most people seem to know. What they don't know is what followed. See, this whole debacle just so happened to pique the interest of Nintendo of America's president, Reggie Fils-Aime. He thought to himself, how can a community built around such an outdated game from 2001 possibly be this passionate? Passionate enough to raise over $90,000 and stir up this much negative press against us? So then, he decided to take a dip into the competitive Melee scene, checking out this Evolution tournament that all these players were fighting tooth and nail for. And, much to his surprise, he found himself getting into it. And ever since then, Reggie's been completely hooked. A regular fan, if you would. And much like every fan who watches these players, Reggie started developing his favorites, the players that he'd always root for. However, on the other end of the spectrum, there was one player in particular who Reggie wasn't all that fond of. Hungrybox. Hbox is a bit of a controversial player in the community, mostly due to his slower paced and defensive playstyle that, in a scene that's been built around high energy and spectacle, tends to rub people the wrong way. It was a minor annoyance to him, but nothing that he'd lose sleep over. That is, of course, until one fateful night, where Reggie found himself being both gifted and cursed with a premonition. One that foretold the death of Melee, and the evil that was responsible for bringing it forth. Hungrybox. Reggie awoke in a cold sweat that night, and from that moment on, he knew what he had to do. The man who had once tried to destroy Melee's opportunity was now solely responsible for saving it. This would prove to be rather difficult for Reggie though, given his current position. I mean, having the president of a major company singling out and harassing one specific Melee player, that would just rake in the bad press, and things like assassinations were definitely out of the question. So if Reggie couldn't handle this matter directly, then he figured perhaps he could do it subliminally. Enter the E3 2014 Super Smash Bros. Invitational Tournament. An event we all initially thought was Masahiro Sakurai's idea to showcase his new game was secretly being orchestrated by Reggie the whole time as a way to deal with Hungrybox. The idea was honestly a little iffy, inviting a small group of Smash players, including Hbox, to participate in a large-scale tournament for the hyped latest addition to the Smash Bros. Series. Reggie knew this game was of a much slower pace than Melee, and he was sure that would play to Hungrybox's strengths, allowing him to easily claim victory. And then hopefully, all the excitement and adrenaline from this victory would overwhelm him, driving him to further chase this success, dropping Melee entirely in order to focus on the new game. However, if there was one thing that Reggie underestimated, it's the tenacity of a Brawl player. Zero ended up winning it all, and now, with his plan in ruins, Reggie was forced to put his frustrations aside, walking on stage like business as usual. But that's when the unthinkable happened. Hungrybox called him out.
Before we go, can I play you for glory?
Oh, no.
It seemed like an innocent, playful request for a quick game at first, but after Reggie declined and the two hugged it out, what we can't see here is Hbox using his little-known ventriloquist abilities, telling Reggie to meet him out back. Now, I'm not exactly sure what went down during this off-camera meeting, but I do know two crucial details. Hungrybox let Reggie know that he was fully aware of his plans to stop him, and then continued to mock and belittle his recent attempts. And at some point, during this flurry of insults, Hungrybox took a jab at Reggie's physical appearance, telling him, to his face, that he looks like Bowser. A massive blow to Reggie's self-confidence, one that really got under his skin, still affecting him to this day.
I don't know why people say that I look like Bowser.
Reggie was not deterred by this. In fact, it only motivated him further. He did have a feeling, though, that he might not be able to do this all alone.
I need some help.
The following month, during that year's EVO, Reggie directly reached out to the Melee community. Nothing too big, just a small message wishing them all luck, while also strategically using their own lingo in order to show that he was, in fact, on their side.
And if we ever do get to go head-to-head, please, no Johns.
And hopefully, if the day finally came, he could warn them of the impending threat that he was unable to stop. Fast forward a year, it's now 2015, and Reggie is done messing around. That's right, he's ready to throw down, baby. He challenges HBox to a 1v1 money match, but if HBox loses, he doesn't give up any money, oh no. He gives up melee. HBox agrees and the stage is set. The battle was on. And unfortunately, Reggie doesn't do any training whatsoever, so it's a completely one-sided match.
Using Jigglypuff for Pereira might be coaching. Okay. You could punish that. From Reggie, Monkey Kick sending Hungrybox off the stage. And again, right now.
No.
We can have him ejected. Give Reggie all of your energy, people. 3, 2. Oh!
Another crushing defeat. Rumor has it that after this, Reggie ordered Sakurai to never give Jigglypuff any patch updates in the remainder of Smash 4's life, purely out of spite. Yeah, it was an ugly, ugly time for Reggie.
What? Where are my donuts?
And just to rub salt into the wounds, in the following years, Hungrybox would go on a rampage, claiming tournament after tournament after tournament, clawing his way to the top, being officially recognized as the #1 Super Smash Bros. Melee player in the world. So, what's in store for Melee's future? Has Reggie failed? We just had ourselves a whole new Smash Invitational this year, and while the current details of what went on behind the scenes are unknown, I believe Reggie still has a plan. In fact, I think I know exactly what his plan is. Let me explain. Step 1. Convince Masahiro Sakurai to add new mechanics to the next Smash, catering it far more to the competitive scene than ever before. What, did you think that was really Sakurai's idea? The man responsible for things like Kirby's epic yarn and tripping in Brawl? Oh no, this is all Reggie. He's the one in control now. Step 2. Host a new invitational, inviting a wide variety of top players from both Melee and Smash 4, all in order to see who has the most immediate potential. And that player, yet again, happened to be Zero. The guy who once threw a monkey wrench into Reggie's plans would now become his greatest asset. Step 3. Don't invite Hungrybox. Yes, it seems Reggie finally learned his lesson. He's done inviting the enemy into his territory, at least not until he's completely ready for him. This step, though, hasn't exactly gone according to plan.
If Nintendo doesn't bring me to E3, I will bring myself there.
Reggie had a feeling Hungrybox would pull a stunt like this, so he tightened security around the entire area. However, Hungrybox did what he does best. Exploited a weakness. The one place that Reggie neglected was the skies. And Hungrybox used a string of real-life jumps and rising pounds to get his way over Reggie's perimeter. The next few steps would have to be done far more stealthily. Step 4. Further consult with the top players as well as other prominent figures in the Smash community, shaping this game to be the one true competitive Smash Bros. Experience. Except it won't be, of course. Nothing's replacing Melee, but that's not the plan. The plan is to make Hungrybox think it is. Step 5. Form an alliance with top Melee players. Have them speak highly of the game for now, and then, when it releases, the plug is pulled for a while. The impossible would have happened. Melee would be no more, and Hungrybox's goals would be complete. At least, that's what it'll look like. And with Melee abandoned, the game's player base will either jump ship or lay low for a while. Hungrybox will set his sights on the new target. However, he'll have a lot of catching up to do in order to reach the top player. But it won't be Zero. Oh, no, that is not personal enough. Hungrybox does not care about Zero, and Reggie knows this. But just who will it be then? Well, why don't you take a look at the Treehouse stream, the day right after the Invitational? Why, who is that Zero's playing with? Leffen. Yes, that's it. See, there's been some bad blood between these two players lately.
It was the only reason I came to this tournament. I want to kick that guy's ass.
I just don't like what he does to the scene.
Talking shit and then getting destroyed for the 15th time in a row might be the reason you play badly.
I would be lying if I, didn't really want to beat his ass.
So Reggie is going to use Zero in order to train Leffen so that he can become the greatest Super Smash Bros. Ultimate player there is, making Hungrybox that much more determined to rise through the ranks and take the title from him. And all while these two players are fighting it out, the rest of the Melee players will be hiding, secretly training, keeping their wave dashing skills sharp. And then, after a year or two, Melee will make a grand resurgence. All the top players are back and stronger than ever, with the exceptions of course being both Hungrybox and Leffen, both of whom let their Melee skills get far, far too rusty in their new pursuits. Yes, Leffen. The man once demonized as the villain of Smash is going to sacrifice himself in order to save it, and then bitch about it all over Twitter, and it's all according to Reggie's plan, our Melee savior.
But yeah, you know, like, it's time to say Melee.
But if it's not Zero, then just who will it be? Well, why don't we take a look at the Treehouse stream the day right after the Invitational? Oh, why, who is that Zero's playing with? It's Leffen. Yes, see, that's it. There's been some bad blood between these two players lately, all perpetuated by HBox's dominant win streak over Leffen. So Reggie is going to use Zero in order to train Leffen so that he can become the greatest Super Smash Bros. Ultimate player there is, making Hungrybox that much more determined to take the title from him. And all while these two players are fighting it out for the top, the rest of the Melee players will be hiding away, secretly training, keeping their wave dashing skills sharp. So then, after a year or two, Melee will make its grand resurgence. All the top players are back and stronger than ever, with the exceptions, of course, being both Hungrybox and Leffen, both of whom let their Melee skills get far too rusty in their new pursuits. Leffen was once demonized as the villain of Smash, but now he's going to sacrifice himself in order to save it, and it's all going according to Reggie's plan.